Hey everybody, it's Rob the Backyard Gardener, and I think it's time I get you updated on my pear trees that I started from seed. So you recall that I started these pear trees from D Anjou pear seeds that I got from the grocery store. Now they weren't organic, but we started them on July 10th, 2016, so they're almost 33 and a half months old. I've got 3 of them to show you today. There's a runt, there's a pretty good one that I planted in place of my dying apple tree that I started from seed, and then there's one that's doing really fantastic. Let me go and get the camera turned around, and we'll get you caught up on them in that order. So here's the runt of the 3 D Anjou pear trees that I started from seed, 33 months old, and he's not much to look at. He constantly struggles for 2 reasons. One, I've got an aggressive blackberry bush that's just sending out roots all under the ground. Matter of fact, this year we got one that popped up right next to him. I'm probably not going to worry too much about this pear tree. He's been stunted for several years. His trunk is still tiny. And just so happens, he's right underneath this dryer exhaust. So when it's the summertime and he gets the dryer exhaust blowing on him, he just gets these burnt leaves as you see. That being said, he's not the star of the show. I just wanted to show you that I still have all 3. This is the 3rd one, or the runt one. Let's go check out my 2nd best one. So I was noticing that I need to go ahead and pull the weeds back from the base of this again, or at least I should say the grass. I want to keep a couple of foot radius around here. They've slowly encroached, but this one's got a much thicker trunk, same age. He's got some extra sprouts I might take off down here. I don't really know if I want too many branches really low to the ground, and that's only about 1.5 feet off the ground. But he branches out into a separate leader right here. We've got one branch that comes this way, and another one that gets all the way up here now to almost 7 feet tall. Wasn't expecting to get any fruit on this guy this year, no flowers either. You got to remember, these guys just hit 33 months. It's going to be 4 to 7 years probably until I set fruit on these guys at all. So we're still a few years away. Right now, I just really want to continue to let them grow and then sculpt them as I can. We've got a lot of branching off of this 2nd leader. And what I noticed this year is a lot of the trunk did not sprout any new growth except for really low. So I think probably that's best for me to do is at this point, probably just take off all of these lower branches altogether and see if that promotes some of these intermediate nodes to send out shoots, because I'd rather have some of my branches about 3 feet off the ground. That way we don't get the rabbits and everything trying to grab the fruit when it does set fruit. Anyway, this is the 2nd best one. 7 feet, definitely needs some pruning, definitely needs some attention, but getting pretty gosh darn big. All right, now that you've seen the first couple, let's go ahead and take a look at the big one. I'll get the pump for the pool turned off so you can actually hear me today, and then we'll discuss what that one's looking like. So here is the 3rd one. I actually have one of my peach trees down here blocking his base, but this guy's got a nice thumb width trunk. He's doing really good. He goes up about 2 feet. He's got some smaller branches or some branching off down here about the 2 foot mark. And then as we move up the trunk, he's got some right around the 3.5 feet mark. And then he's got one that just started this year right around the almost 4 foot mark, one at the 5.5 foot mark, and then this little canopy right at the 6 foot mark. I'm not quite sure how I will keep him depending on how these branches come in. It's pretty sporadic. Probably once these nodes here get fully developed and we've got some good branching right here around the 4 to 5 foot mark, I'll probably take off all the ones that are around 2 feet. But for now, we're just letting them keep these green foliage on him so he can put down some more roots, fatten his trunk, and maybe get some flowers in the next couple years. This guy is already above 8 feet tall. I can't even on my tippy toes barely get up there. You know, I'm kind of disappointed though, and I'll show you why in a second, because I've got a couple of other pear trees in my yard, and I want to at least get you caught up on them, because for some reason I've had a really tough time getting any of my pear trees to flower here in North Texas, and I think it's because of the prolonged summer with all the hot temperatures. And as you know, pear trees are prone to that fire blight, which is basically when they get overheated, they just burn up. And in Texas, it gets a little too hot for these guys, for the most part, when they're young trees. But anyway, let me flip the camera around and I'll show you a couple more of my pear trees. This is my Bartlett pear tree. This is the one that right here died after the first year in the ground, and I just topped him and I thought I'll let the trunk die off and I'll go ahead and take him out the following year. Well, he shot out a couple of years ago and actually survived, and we've let him grow on his own since then. And he put on a ton of foliage last year, and I trimmed him really well, and I honestly thought that I was going to get some flowers this year on this guy, but we didn't. So hopefully next year we'll get some flowers on him. I know it's a little dark, sorry, it's twilight, but he's looking fantastic. We've even got birds trying to make a home in my ladder. Anyway, this is the Bartlett pear. I've got a Bartlett here, like I said. I've got the D Anjou that I've grown from seed over here. And then my final pear tree is an Orient pear tree. This guy's been with me for several years. Look at the base on this guy. He's fine. You can see he's an Orient pear, and we have a monster base. This guy actually finally, for the first year ever, and I had trimmed him down, by the way, and he's just put on another 5 feet here since he broke his buds. It's crazy. I'll have to top him again. But he finally this year put on flowers. He had 4 flower pods only, all on this one branch right here. And I'm gonna just pull it down a little bit so you can see he didn't get any of the flowers set on that one. He didn't get any of the flowers set on that one. And I believe he only got 1 pear set right here. 1. 4 flower clusters, 6 flowers in each cluster, 24 chances, and we only got 1. And you know what? I think that's probably the reason, because I didn't have any flowers on any of the pear trees. So he was probably at the mercy of a local backyard that had pear trees in it and just happened to have a bee land on them that got him pollinated. Still, we've struggled with pear trees. You guys know it. And I'm hoping that that pear actually ripens, doesn't fall off, and gives me at least 1 pear this year. And I'm very optimistic that this, now that he flowered a few clusters this year, this Orient pear will flower for sure next year. I'm 99% that this guy will give me some flowers next year. He's put on a ton of growth. He looks healthy. I think the disease a couple of years ago really stunted him. That's probably why he didn't flower. And then in a couple of years from now, I'm pretty certain that my D Anjou grown from seed will give me some flowers as well. And then I'll have all 3 of my favorite varieties sitting right back here in the yard, cross-pollinating each other, making sure we get a good harvest. Well, there you have it, everyone. I know it's kind of a quick update on my pear trees grown from seed. Remember, the ones I'm growing from seed are D Anjou. I actually have Bartlett, and I have an Orient pear in my backyard as well. Hopefully we can get a pear off that Orient pear tree this year. That'd be awesome. And if not, next year will probably be the year I start seeing some production from my pear trees. To any extent, this series is about the ones I've grown from seed. We've got a few years to go on those before we see any fruit production, but that's what makes it so much fun. Nurturing these guys for several years, growing them from seed, and watching them grow up and become big trees is something that I can't wait for. And they're on the way, and that's exciting. If you're enjoying this Pear Trees Grown from Seed series, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. And as always, everyone, happy gardening, and thanks for watching.